Sometimes, my dad makes me run errands with him. He took me to Target and told me to wander around while he went shopping. All I had to do was meet him at checkout when he called. Without a doubt, the most interesting place at Target is the electronics section, so I went straight there to look at stuff. It was completely dead back there. The whole store was pretty devoid of people really, at nearly 9 p.m. However, I was not alone. A few aisles down, I heard some people arguing. Upon eavesdropping, I concluded it was actually just one person talking to themselves. I knew it wasn't the smartest idea to get too curious, but boredom got the best of me, so I started sneaking closer. It didn't take long to find him. Sure enough, he was alone, seemingly lost in his own world. A tormented, violent, drug-addled world. It's not like I'd never seen a crackhead before, but I'd never seen one in Target. He was entirely fixated on a display of athletic accessories in the middle of the aisle, talking to it, threatening it. I should have been more careful to not be seen, but I was a bit awestruck and fairly confident he had almost no peripheral vision to speak of. I watched him for almost a minute, his jaw clenched and his fist curled in anger as he stared down that 10-pound kettlebell like it owed him money. It was as entertaining as it was frightening, and honestly, sad. I didn't know what he was going to do next, but then he moved with lightning speed. In one motion, he swung his arms and knocked everything off the shelf in front of him. He started screaming, kicking the shelves in, punching everything in sight. At the last second, I ducked out of sight. For a moment, I thought he saw me, but I just kept walking away, hoping I wouldn't hear him running up from behind. Thankfully, I seemed to be in the clear. I made it back to the electronics section, then kept going into the clothing department, and that's when my dad happened to call and tell me it was time to go. Still a bit rattled from what I saw, I met my dad in line. We were stuck waiting behind 5 or 6 people. Directly in front of us, there was a middle-aged woman by herself with the cart about half full. And then somebody slammed her head against the counter. It was the same crackhead I saw 2 minutes ago, beating her face into the conveyor belt and strangling her. I stood in shock as he kept pummeling her without mercy. She went unconscious almost instantly, but that still didn't stop him. My dad shoved me backwards and lunged in to help all at once. He threw his fist into the crackhead's face and jumped on top of him, trying to pull the guy off. But even my dad couldn't do it alone. For a second, I thought I should join him and help, but I hesitated. Was I strong enough to make a difference? Or would I just get in the way? Before I could make a decision, 3 other guys had rushed over and piled on. By then, I knew I couldn't make a difference. It was already an absolute cluster of violence, and somewhere at the bottom was that woman they were trying to save. I could barely even see her anymore, not knowing what else to do. I stepped back and started to record.
Get off her! Let her go! She has to die! She's gotta die!
Shit. Bro, this is unreal. This can't be happening.
Enough! Stay back! Just stay the hell away from her! Leave me alone! You should be thanking me! She's the dangerous one! Look at her!
No way.
Hey! Shit! Are you filming me? Do not touch him! He is filming me! Grant, run! I'll break your neck! Ah! Wait!
If I wasn't going to fight, I should have just run from the start. Now I had that psycho after me. I ran for my life, trying to find my way out, but he was right behind me, always blocking me. I ended up in some random corner of the store, with no idea where I was or how to get out. I was cornered. I stopped and looked back. The psycho had me trapped. The beating of my life, the end of my life, was just seconds away, until my dad came running back through, tackling the bastard to the floor. The other men piled on top of him again, but with his insane luck and strength, he managed to weasel out from underneath all of them. Thankfully though, he didn't go after me again. He ran off in another direction, pursued by my dad and the others until the cops finally came and arrested him. I thought they were going to have to gun him down, but right when they showed up, he suddenly became completely calm, almost like he was waiting for the cops from the very beginning. Thanks to my dad, I narrowly escaped being a victim of this completely random and brutally violent attack. But for the rest of my life, every time I go to Target, I'm going to think of what happened to that poor woman. She didn't die, but I don't think her life could ever be the same after that. A man was taken into custody following a violent and apparent random attack inside a Target store in Simi Valley that was caught on video. The incident unfolded around 6 p.m. on a Wednesday. Officers responded after a caller reported that a man had entered the store and immediately began attacking a woman at a checkout counter. Several bystanders jumped in to help the woman. That's when police say the man began attacking them. The video shows the suspect fought the people who came to the woman's rescue. The alleged attacker was identified as 34-year-old Rajan Tabor, who was taken into custody. He had been released from jail less than 48 hours earlier. The woman who was initially attacked was taken by her family to the hospital in stable condition. Police say she did not know the suspect. Tabor is now facing multiple charges. A teenager who started filming the attack says his father was one of the heroes who intervened.
Before I moved to Phoenix, I lived in a small town in Arizona and worked at Target. I found the closing shift to be calmer in general. But of course, even in a small town, some strange people crawl out of the woodwork after dark. There's one night that still gives me nightmares. It was a tedious shift. I just wanted to go home, and in a little over an hour, I would finally get to do just that. When I first saw it, I was pre-closing, running the vacuum near the front of the store, close enough to see the outdoors. A tall, pale man in his balding 50s. He stared right at me. That's when I realized he was walking straight toward me. I felt an electric shock of fear as I realized just how damn tall this guy was. He had to be almost 7 feet. And there I was, barely average height, frozen in place like a deer in headlights. He ripped the vacuum out of my hands as if I were a baby, saying something I didn't quite comprehend at first, but would make a lot more sense by the end of the night.
Turn that death trap off! I won't let you mind control me!
I'm sorry? Then he just walked off like it was nothing. My best guess was he thought it was disrespectful to run the vacuum near customers. Everyone around just kind of shrugged, so I tried not to take it too personally. For the next few minutes, I walked around and pretended to look busy. I kept running into that same guy, too. Each time I rounded a corner and saw him, I did a complete 180 and left him alone. I didn't ask him if he needed any help. I didn't question why he was touching everything and not picking any of it up. However, about the 5th time I ran into him, I could no longer ignore him. His actions were in plain sight. If I let it slide this time, I might get more than just fired. I might actually get arrested, because what I saw him doing was that serious. He was pulling food out of the freezer, opening the packages, and pouring in some kind of mystery liquid. I didn't know exactly what it was, but the container was covered in warning labels. For all I knew, it could be cyanide. I finally couldn't take it anymore. I was sick of everyone and their stupid problems, and I was not gonna let this crazy lard ass kill people in my store.
Sir, what the hell are you doing? I'm neutralizing the invisible chemicals. What does it look like? You think you're helping? You're gonna make people sick. Stop! Don't come near me, kid. I know my rights. You're crazy. You're poisoning people. What even is that? Relax, it's harmless. Unless what? Unless you're reptilian.
Oh my god, you're one of those crazy people.
Wait a minute, don't I recognize you? Yeah, you're the boy with the mind control device. Dumbass, it's called a vacuum cleaner! Yes, that's the code name for it. That's what they want you to think it is. I don't care, dude. Just put down the bottle of whatever that is and leave, or I'm gonna call the cops. Actually, come here for a second. I want to test something.
Wait, what are you doing? Don't come near me with that.
Hey, stop!
With surprising speed, that weirdo lunged and grabbed me. He pinned me against the freezer, then forced open my jaw. I fought against him, trying to claw out his eyes and kick him in the nuts, but he was built like a brick wall. Then, he shoved the bottle into my mouth and turned it upside down. The fluid came rushing down and flooded my throat. It felt just like water for about 2 seconds. Then all at once, it started to react, dissolving my flesh into a suffocating foam. I choked and gagged as my body convulsed and the putrid acid flew everywhere. Finally, as the bottle ran empty, people came to help. They ripped the guy off and dragged him away as he screamed about me being some kind of lizard person. I thought at any moment I would die from the poison, that my face was melting off as I collapsed, gasping for air. The people who came to help doused me with gallons of water from the nearby shelf, then got taken to the hospital right after the cops arrested the man who attacked me. Thankfully, at the hospital, I was able to recover without lasting damage. Turns out the liquid was hydrogen peroxide, which definitely isn't harmless in this context, but a million times better than almost anything else it could have been. Unfortunately, since that freak genuinely believed his insane schizo bullshit, they released him on probation. As soon as I heard about that, I feared for my life, expecting him to come neutralize reptilian me, so I moved out of the city. That's how I came to live in Phoenix. I don't often tell people the true reason I live here, though, as it's the most traumatic experience in my life. David Lohr was arrested and later sentenced to 7 years of supervised probation for contaminating food at multiple Target stores. Lohr was caught pouring hydrogen peroxide and bleach directly onto open food items and inside the freezer sections of Target locations. Police apprehended him at a Target store in Ahwatukee, Arizona. Investigators determined he had tampered with products across at least 6 different Target locations in the area. Upon his arrest, Lohr claimed to investigators that he poured the liquids because he believed store security was using invisible chemicals, and he wanted to make them go away. Lohr had a lengthy criminal history across multiple states, including a previous conviction in California for similar retail food tampering offenses.
I would go to Target a couple times a week. The last time I went, I pulled into a parking spot maybe 10 or 12 spaces from the front. The lot was crowded, but I managed to find 2 empty spaces next to each other, which made it easy to swing in. Within 2 seconds, another car pulled into the spot next to me. That by itself wasn't strange, it being a busy parking lot, but it was the kind of car, a huge, old pickup truck, and the way it flew in, that struck me as odd, just weird. Anyway, I hopped out and started walking to the entrance, reminding myself what I was getting. Just a gift for my boyfriend for our 6-month anniversary, and maybe a thing or two for myself. I wouldn't even need a basket. I could carry everything in my own 2 hands. As I walked in, glancing over my shoulder, I noticed a gross man walking through. He had the same visual vibe as the truck that parked next to me. Boxy, a bit dirty, looked like he always smelled kind of bad, so I assumed him to be the driver. I knew it was probably just a coincidence that we entered at the same time, since we walked a similar distance, but I still decided to pull out my phone and call my mom, just to seem less alone, less approachable. Switching from a stroll to a brisk walk, I left that weirdo in the dust and went shopping. I didn't stay on the phone with my mom for too long, as I needed both hands to carry stuff. I got my boyfriend a portable speaker so we could listen to music together, as well as a roll of wrapping paper. Then I got myself a new perfume and a nice bar of soap. All the while, I kept seeing that same guy out of the corner of my eye. He was never too close, and always seemed to be going somewhere, so I couldn't be sure if he was following me or not. I wished I could call my boyfriend, but with all the stuff I was carrying, my hands were too full. I didn't want to drop one of the expensive things and break it. I decided to just get out and be quick about it. After all, it was broad daylight, with hundreds of people around, so what was the worst thing he could possibly try? At checkout, I only had to wait in line for a couple of minutes. I didn't see the weird guy around me anymore, so I figured I was just overthinking it. Outside, it somehow felt 10 degrees hotter and 10 times brighter than before. I squinted but could still barely see. It was absolutely blinding. I kept thinking that I only had to deal with this unholy summer heat for a few more weeks. Then I would be off to college up north with my boyfriend. Once I got to my car, I gently laid the stuff into the passenger seat, then walked around to get in on the driver's side. I opened the door and sat down, but when I got to pull the door closed, it got stuck on something. Looking out to my left to see what the hell I hit, I saw the barrel of a gun pointed at my eye. Standing behind it was the creep who really had been following me in the store, and there was his truck right behind him. Despite knowing he could pull the trigger and end me in a split second, I screamed, but only the tiniest, most unhelpful sound escaped my lips, before he had his hand gripped around my throat and began squeezing the life out of me, right in that Target parking lot, in broad daylight. He hadn't just cut off my air, but my blood, the nerves in my spine too. I was fading out in seconds, feeling my body go cold as I tried and failed to command it to fight. Seeing nothing but a gun in the lower half of the man who was killing me, I thought that was it. I was going to die right there. No warning, no chance. The darkness engulfed me, but it didn't take me. Not then. I hadn't died yet. I had gone unconscious, but there was still life in me. I could feel myself coming back from the brink. I was getting a second chance. Only I couldn't have been dealt a worse hand when I woke up.
Who are you? Why didn't you just kill me?
It's more fun when you're alive.
You sick son of a bitch. You can't do this. Do you know how many people saw what you did to me?
0.
Bullshit, you're lying.
If anybody saw us, you wouldn't be in the position you're in. The fact is, nobody saw a thing.
Damn it, shut up.
Nobody cares about you.
Stop it.
And no one is coming to save you!
No!
We're here.
Where are we? You asshole!
My personal breeding grounds. That's fine with me. I don't mind going out of order.
On the evening of July 2nd of 2007, Kelsey Smith, 18, told her father she had plans to shop for an anniversary gift at Target for her boyfriend. That was the last time anyone would ever hear from her. She drove to the Target store, knowing she'd only have about an hour to shop before her date. After the hour passed, Kelsey still wasn't home, and her calls and texts went unanswered. Concerned, Kelsey's parents and boyfriend, John Beersmith, went to the store to search for her, but found no sign of her or her car. Soon after, the family contacted authorities. Kelsey's loved ones continued to search the area surrounding the store. Hours later, they found Kelsey's car parked across the street in a lot outside a Macy's store, but she wasn't inside. Police reviewed the surveillance footage that showed Kelsey walking into the Target store and being followed by an unidentified man in a white shirt and dark pants throughout the store. While the man wasn't seen in the footage approaching her in the store, he was later seen forcing her into her car after she walked out. Hours later, the same male figure was then seen getting out of Kelsey's car in the Macy's parking lot. After reviewing the footage, authorities decided to release a photo of the suspect to the public in hopes of identifying him. He was later identified as Edwin Hall. 4 days after Kelsey vanished, her body was found in a wooded area. Hall was soon found by police and taken into custody. He ended up pleading guilty for his crimes.